my kids as well, you know, they're growing up with these smartphones and these phones where they can watch these videos that you're making on there, but a lot of them aren't getting out and doing what we do. You know, they're not getting
I
out.
think it's great if they watch the videos, but the problem is they watch all the trash instead. Also,
oh, well, that too, unfortunately. But I mean, there's where you're making a change in the world. You're bringing in something that's very educational, and it's also bringing history to life. You're preserving history. There's so many great things there, but it's also sad though that a lot of our youth today, they're not getting out and doing these adventures, you know, like a lot of us are. A lot of them are living vicariously through a lot of us.
Well, I'm hoping that it's going to inspire some people who see it or hear about it to at least know about it, and then be like, whoa, this is cool. And then even more, go out and try to, you know, take up the hobby themselves.
100%.
Be interested in history.
And I think that you've already inspired. I mean, just with those people that are writing and messaging you, I'm sure you inspire them in some way for sure. It sounds like.
Oh yeah, I mean that message I got the other day. The guy was like a medical examiner, where he has to go and retrieve dead bodies and figure out their cause of death and stuff for like his day job. And he said, oh man, I get home from work and I have PTSD and I just need some kind of therapy. So I got into looking for old bottles and collecting old bottles as a therapeutic thing. And I watch your videos because it's therapeutic to watch all, you know, just the digging. It can be kind of like calming, you know, to watch somebody dig. Well, maybe my videos aren't calming, but a lot of loud talking and jokes, but yeah. But yeah, totally.
Well, I think it's fantastic. We had a question in chat. You want to ask it?
I will in 1 second. Yeah. So for those that are listening that are not in chat, you can find BottleNed's YouTube channel at BottleNed. So definitely if you aren't subscribed or you haven't.
Digging the Old West with BottleNed. Yeah.
Okay. I searched at BottleNed and it came up. So I was, okay. So digging the Old West with BottleNed. So that's awesome. So those that aren't in chat, please do go give BottleNed a watch because his videos are phenomenal. And then we did have a question in chat for you. So Becca wanted to know, are there books and or resources that you use to research the bottles that you find?
Absolutely. Yeah. There's the thing about a lot of the bottles I find digging in the West are going to be out of San Francisco because that was basically the hub where most of the liquor distributors and the patent medicine dudes and everyone that, you know, made and sold products were. There isn't a centralized resource. The resources are actually diggers and collectors of antique bottles that have been doing it forever, who are just this incredible wealth of information because they're obsessed people. And there's a lot of different sources to learn about this stuff. OCD people are really good because they'll just delve deep into a subject and they'll research the hell out of it, and then hopefully they'll publish it in some form. So specifically, I'm trying to think of how do I point. It's really difficult. Oh my God. There's no specific resource. There's a magazine called the Federation of Historical Bottle Collectors, and there's a guy who's about 80 years old now, who's lived out here forever and collected and researched forever. His name is Eric McGuire, and he's written a couple of very in-depth articles, and I featured a couple of the video segments are based on a lot of his research that I've done in my episodes. One is on the New Almaden Vichy water bottle from Santa Clara County, California. And there's another one that's in an episode that I haven't released yet, which is about the Tawaba hair restorative of Nevada White Sage, which is an Elko, Nevada bottle. And those were two bottles that he actually did a lot of research. And I just took that research, the basic points of it, and wrote my own narration and created a video for it, because before I created a video, it was just in the obscurely, you could only find it if you really knew how to search on the internet, and it was in just kind of just in a text on the internet, and it was, I guess it's attached to the Federation magazine, some of their online material, but it's very, that's why I'm trying to do that's another reason I'm trying to do the channel. I'm trying to compile all this information from all these people that have been digging out here for 50 years, who are just OCD and know almost everything. And I just want to take all this information and put it into a centralized source, and that's the channel. Unfortunately, it's one episode at a time, so you have to really watch a lot of it to get, a lot of, because I try to focus on one thing at a time, obviously. Oh my God, just things as I find them. And yeah, centralized.
I think you need to write a book.
Material.
Yeah,
I know there's books out
there.
Write a book. There's books. There's just a lot of them are price guides, and I don't really give a crap about what something's worth, unless I find like a threadless insulator and I could just sell it for 10 grand. That'd be great. And pay a bunch of bills. But obviously, so I'm a hypocrite too. But like in terms of my soul and my passion, I don't care about prices. And I think that's the wrong reason for anyone to get into it. But there's also a guy named Jeff Wishman at American Bottle Auctions, who's done some research on different Western bottles, bitters product. There's a guy named Tom Astrom from Below the Plains. His YouTube channel is really big. He's in the Dakotas. He's doing a bunch of research on some Western bottles, along with other bottles throughout the country.
Very cool.
Yeah, I mean,
there is the books out there. Majority of them are those price guides that you see that are like 30 years old. You try to get the older ones so that way they might have more information in it as reference guides. And then the
problem with price guides is they're quickly outdated.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But you do a fantastic job of finding the old advertisements as well, which is a really fun aspect of some of the bottles that you're digging.
Yes. California Digital Newspaper Collection. That's another research. Rumsey Maps. They're digitized maps from the whole country in bird's eye views. The Library of Congress has all the Sanborn maps digitized from every city in America. California Digital Newspaper Collection. That's how you can get ads. You just searchable.
Fantastic. So before we got on air today, before we aired, you were saying you found something pretty interesting this year so far.
Oh yeah.
If you want, you don't have to. I could switch it up and say,
of course I want to.
All right, let's hear what you found.
Okay. Well, one of my favorite places that I visit as often as I can get down there is my favorite municipal city dump located underneath a large section of downtown San Francisco, which is the dump I used to dig in when I lived way closer to San Francisco, California. In college, it was one of the first places I ever found bottles that wasn't kind of in my hometown area. And same place I described meeting the guy who found the coffin. I went down there last summer and they had excavated a pile of dirt from that dump. The dump it was an old bay, and they filled it starting in 1869. They started in the edges of it, and they filled it to the center. By 1896, it was filled. And so from 1869 to 1896, kind of a difficult age range for dyslexic people. It was the San Francisco Municipal Dump. And whenever they dig, they expose muddy layers of paper and preserved wood and rubber and brass and every other piece of Victorian trash you can imagine, all 100% preserved, because it's buried 20 feet below concrete and buildings, and it's anaerobic, which means oxygen and bacteria and all this other stuff hasn't touched it. So even paper survives down there indefinitely. So when they dig it up and you can scrape through a pile, you can literally pull out books and newspapers and read them. Huh. But they're wet. So as soon as they dry, they're dust. But anyway, so that's what makes that dump really cool. And I was obviously fascinated by that dump when I was younger for those same reasons. But last summer, went and found a pile of that mud, was there at the right time, and this bottle rolled out, and I didn't think much of it. It just looked like another aqua bottle, like I found a million of them in that dump. It was a 1890s hand-blown aqua medicinal bottle. But it had a cork or a stopper in it, and somebody had disposed of their secret inside there. They'd stuffed a rubber condom inside the bottle and thrown it away. As they used the bottle as a vehicle to dispose of their condom, their act. And it was still in there. I couldn't really tell what it was at first. And when I dumped it out, I'm like, holy crap, it's rubber. And then I'm like, holy crap, it's shaped like a you know what. And that was really cool. So I left the water in there, and I have the condom, and it's all preserved. It's all I left the bottle and the rubber and condom inside it. You know, I put it back in, and yeah.
A Victorian rubber.
Bottle?
Bottle's about 1889, something right in there.
Oh, wow. So they actually made the rubber ones then, huh?
Yeah, they made the animal skin ones, and then in the I forget when, sometime the contemporary with Goodyear's patent on vulcanized rubber in 1851. So in the last half of the 19th century, they started making more synthesized rubber products, and way better rubber. Basically, the precursor to plastic was vulcanized rubber. They made combs and toothbrushes and all that stuff out of it. But yeah, this is late 19th century rubber condom, and then by 1920 they had latex.
So I know a lot of us as metal detectors, we've found the Three Merry Widows reusable condom tins. I wonder what they made those out of, because they were supposedly washable. I haven't done that research yet.
What age are those?
Well, we're on. Well, they date back, I'm not sure, late 1800s to probably mid-20s or 30s.
Yeah, those are the 1920s, 1930s. They were the first-ish latex condoms that could or could not be reused.
That's amazing. Obviously, they probably don't make them to be reused today because of extreme liability issues.
Yes.
Right?
Oh, awesome.
Brother. Some of the things we encounter.
Yeah, I know. Oh, that was a fun one. I put it in my YouTube video, of course, the rubber condom fiasco. So that's in there.
So, what about is there like a special bottle or favorite find besides?
Yes, there is actually. Before I was saying about how I love being able to tie the history of who used that object back to, just have the whole provenance of something. I think that makes an object way cooler, even though bottles are just beautiful. Obviously, hand-blown glass is just beautiful no matter how you look at it. But my favorite, it's hard to have a favorite bottle because I'm Bottle Ned. But it's really difficult. But I'll say one story in particular would be the infallible hair restorative bottle that I found. It's a cobalt blue bottle blown at Pacific Glass Works about 1865, which is a really early San Francisco date of manufacture for glass. The first glass was blown in San Francisco in 1859, and it was so experimental that most of it didn't even hold up. It just fell apart. And the pieces that do exist are so incredibly crude you've never seen anything like it. It's nothing like